Hi, this is Lori from Shoo Paper Art. On Saturday, we just did an Easter egg hunt with my granddaughter and it was so fun. And so I decided to kind of make a photo display or holder for some of the Easter cards. Now this could also be just a regular card very easily. You just substitute the photos for some stamped images and some sentiments, things like that. So this could be a very versatile way to do something really fun. So when it opens, you have all this space. Isn't that cool? And the cute little pictures. This is fun and very easy. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is a 7.5 by 10 piece of cardstock. Now, I might mention that I'm using 80-pound cardstock, which I know if you've followed me at all, you know that's a little bit unusual because I like the heavier weight paper. But there are several layers here. I've got the main body of the card, the cover, and the photos. And so this turns out to be fairly thick. So the 80-pound paper actually works out really nice. And also it's nice because it folds easily, and that is also a plus. Okay, so on the 10-inch side is where I'm going to start, and we're going to do some scoring. So let's score at 2.5. I might mention that the squares that it makes are 2.5 by 2.5. So 2.5 and 5 and 7.5. Okay, then I'm going to turn it to the 7.5 inch side, and I'm going to score at 2.5 inches and at 5 inches. All right, so that's all the scoring that's necessary on this basic piece of cardstock. The next thing I'm going to do is cut out this middle portion. So I'm just going to, on this middle score line, I'm just going to go ahead and fold that. And then I'm going to cut on the score lines that are in the middle. There's a score line here and a score line here. And I'm going to cut just to that very first score line. I'm not going to cut all the way to the edge. And I am cutting on the fold side. Now, if you want to do just a basic trifold, that's all you need to do. But if you want to change out this middle portion a little bit, like for example here on this one, you'll see I have these little folds, which I think is kind of cute. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. You can, you know, this part that I'm getting ready to do is an option. Okay, to do that, I'm going to completely cut out this middle portion. Now to make this middle portion, I found it easier to start with a whole nother strip of cardstock. And that cardstock is 2.5 inches by 10. Then we're going to do a little bit more scoring. Okay, so let's score at 1 1/4 and 2.5. Oops, 2.5. And 5, 7.5, and 8 3/4. Okay, so that's the scoring that we need on the strip. Okay, so now the strip is going to go right back in place as if you never cut anything out. Okay, and I'm just going to put glue on this last little bit where that first score is on the back. the strip in place, I basically lined up the scores. That's kind of the easiest way to make sure it's in there fairly straight. Okay, next you need to deal with the folding. I'll show you here on the finished one. You can see that the top layer or the top strip has a mountain fold, and so does the bottom. They're exactly the same. But then the middle one, it has a valley fold here, and its mountain folds are on the outside. So we're going to fold the top and bottom the same and the middle differently. So first of all, let's make these mountain folds here. Okay, and now I'm going to continue folding. And the only time this is awkward is when you're folding. After that, it folds nicely. Okay, so I'm going to pull these up and push this back, gather these sides up, and fold them over. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when it's folded. Okay, so now we're ready to put the covers on. You have some options. You can do just plain paper and do some stamping on the outsides. You can use some decorative papers. I had these cute little bunny Easter papers, so I wanted to use those. And you're just going to put them on the outside, the back, and the front. Now I want to go back to this finished one and take a look at the things to finish it off. You can see that I cut the photos just to fit inside the folds. I also did some stamping and some sentiments. And then also down here is a little envelope. I'll show you how I did this, and also the thing that I did wrong on this one. And so you can see that it's a little, maybe you can't see, I'm not sure, it's a little puffy underneath there. And the reason for that is because when I made this envelope, I left this portion of it as tall as the opening, and I couldn't get in there and get out the inside piece that I put in there. So I had to put this little tab on it to pull it out. And this tab right here makes it really bulky. So this is just a little tag that has Louise's name and Easter 2019 on it. Okay, so I should have made this little portion of the envelope a little bit shorter so that I could see this, so I'd be able to get it out. Now that doesn't mean that you still couldn't put a little tab on it, but you want the tab to be shorter than the fold because it will make it poof out weird. Okay, so to make an envelope this size, you're going to need a piece of paper that is 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. And we're going to score that at 1/4 of an inch on each side, each long side. And then on the side that's going to be the top of the envelope and the bottom of the envelope, we're going to score the bottom at 1/4 and then score at 2 1/2. Now when you get that done, you want to cut out the little corners that are created. There's a little tiny corner here, and then more of a rectangle up here. You're going to fold these scores in. And then the front of this little envelope will need to be 2 by 2 1/4. And you can see when you put it on here, to glue it on there, that it is going to be a little bit short. And you can see where to pull the inside piece out, which will be very helpful. The other thing you can do, which I just didn't take time to do, is you could make it the full length, and then you could die cut a circle out or something like that also to make it easy. Okay, and then this is the top. And you can leave it like that, or you can see on my finished one that I did angle it just a little bit. That's entirely up to you. The closers are circles that I used my smallest circle dies to do. You can also use, here's an example, you can also use a pop dot. And if you do that, the edges will be a little bit sticky, so you can just run some baking soda or any kind of powder or something that you have along the edges so that it won't be sticky. This is a stack of 6 circles, 120-pound paper. That makes it just about right. And then all you do is stack those circles together, and then whatever paper you want to use, you're just going to glue it right on top of those circles, just like that. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is glue them to the front of your little envelope. Then you're going to take your twine, or in this case I used floss, whichever one you want to do. And first you're going to tie it around, oops, I should have lined that up a little bit better. Okay, tie it around your biggest circle, or you may have the same size, but your bottom circle. Just a knot will do, if I can tie one. And then just snip off that extra little piece there. And you want to leave enough that you can weave it around to close it. And you can go around more than once if you want to. Just leave enough for however many times you want to go around. Okay, let's look at the front, because it basically works the same way. For this, I had some of these vintage and flowers that I thought might look cute on there. So I did use hot glue to glue this to the little stack of circles. I tied the twine around just like I showed you, except I left a tail long enough to tie. And then I cut off enough twine to go around, 3 times. Okay, so you can tie a bow, or so that it's easy to untie and get back into. So I hope that you have some pictures, or you have an idea for how to fun card, this trifold shutter card, to do for one of your loved ones or friends or whatever. This was a lot of fun to do. I love these pictures of Louisa. It's a great way to show a lot of different things, and to have a little tiny envelope, which is also very cute. So thank you for joining me, and you can always find me at shushupaperart.com.